Are you caught up on who you could catch? And I'll give it a few more minutes and break after Lydia and give you an opportunity for anyone you're missing, okay?
Yep, Tanya's actually doing our roll, so I will let her jump in and go through who she's missing.
And I do
Excellent.
have everybody that's on so far, except the numbers.
Excellent. I'm going to get started and give some late arrivals a few minutes. I actually do appreciate to those of you that do join early because it does save time and allow us to do what we're here to do, which is talk business and have a wonderful in-service and get the year off right. So to everybody, welcome back. I'm so excited. If I haven't talked to you yet, Happy New Year. And I'm really glad and excited on how things are going so far in the classroom and what we are planning for an excellent 2017. New programs always coming out in our 4.5 credit hours. If you are not talking, please still unmute so there's no feedback. That does save some things, and I'm nowhere near, yes, I'm on there like 5 times, but it is not me, I promise you. So if you are not speaking, please stay on mute until you're ready to share on the in-service, because I look forward to that conversation. We have wonderful new programs that are in the works for this year, along with continuing to make our 4.5 credit courses a success. All of your hard work is really, really appreciated, and I can't thank you enough. And with that said, I'm going to let Lydia take the floor for a minute because she has some great news and things to share on our efforts working. Lydia.
All right. Hey, guys. I am very excited to share with you that we are closing out the month of January with only 18 drops. This is amazing because our budget from the corporate office was 32. So we are 14 below that. And we really needed to hit our goals. We needed to be around 28 drops. And I was really sweating it. But everybody pitched in, everybody stepped it up, and we ended at 18. We will be doing no more drops for the month of January. So that is amazing. That is one of our best months probably ever. But it's definitely one of our best months in a long, long time.
Absolutely. And Lydia, I am going to interrupt. Everyone glossed in that glory. That is a lot of hard work that you guys did. Do not just gloss over that. Just enjoy the moment on your efforts actually paying off. Can I hear some woohoo's? Except if you are the one causing the echo.
Woo! Woo! Woohoo!
Sorry, Lydia. They need to realize we don't just bring down on the bad stuff. This is great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was definitely a team effort, guys, and I know that we push really hard with contact your students, and it gets tedious at times, but it's working. A lot of the extra things that we're doing are starting to pay off, and we're finally seeing results. So that dropping only 18 for the month of January is usually a very difficult month, is pretty awesome. Did you want me to go ahead and cover the other thing you wanted me to cover today, Veronica?
Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Now, with that great news that we've only lost 18 people for the month of January, we got to cover some other things. We work really hard as a group to communicate well and contact students and to make sure that everybody's in the loop on our students. It's this time of year that things have gotten a little lax in the student of concern sheet department, and I think it's important that we talk about those and why that those are important. We're very meticulous and demanding when it comes to those students of concern sheets. But Deidre and I use those sheets every single week to know how your students are doing. There are 430 students enrolled with Vista College Online right now, and there's no possible way we can monitor every single one of them. That's why we ask you to put your sheets in a specific format. I will be sending you after this call the directions for the students of concern sheets, because I've noticed that we've kind of fallen off on this. We were doing really, really well for a while, and these sheets were beautiful. And lately they haven't been. So a few things that I will mention is, one, make sure that we're putting the students' names in the proper format. I know this is nitpicky, but when we're searching through 150 students, it's easier if they're all listed the same way. So first name, last name. That makes sorting and filtering easier as well. Don't abbreviate programs. Whatever program the student is in, please write it out. On the sheet that I will send you guys, it lists all of the programs and how they should be formatted. Again, it's nitpicky, but it's necessary to keep track of that many students. When I take your sheet of 5 students and I combine it with everyone else's, there's sometimes 150 students on it. So we need to be able to sort that information. Most importantly, make sure that we're not leaving any blank spaces. So if you don't know what to put on there, please ask for some students. Again, the sheet I will send to you gives specific instructions on what to do and what to put where. And last but not least, the notes section. This is probably the most important field on the whole entire sheet. Please put what the student is currently getting in class, their percentage or their letter grade, so that I know when I give them a quick call and go, hey, you're not doing your work, your teacher tells me you have an F in class, what's going on? I don't have to go into the classroom and look that student up. I know exactly where they are. It just saves Deidre and I both a lot of time when we're helping your students. So this will all come to you guys in an email, so you don't have to memorize it. It's also the same exact sheet that I'm going to send to you is also in the Instructor Resource Center. If you ever lose my email that I'm going to send to you, you can look it up there. Does anybody have any questions about the Students of Concern sheet?
I have a question. This is Glenda.
Sure.
My question is this. At one time we went to putting students on our SOCs that were passing, but we were still concerned about them. And this particular class, I have 3 students that I've had in class before, and I know their work. They do a good job with their work, but my concern is that I can't reach them any longer by telephone. So I guess I got a 2-part question. When we do get the telephone number on the students, how do you want us to communicate that to you, Lydia, and to Deidre, so that you can update, and I'm assuming I'm not supposed to go in and make the changes. If I am, correct me. But how do I communicate that? How do you want me to communicate a current telephone number for students? Do you want that put on the SOCs?
No, if a student tells you they have new contact information, just email that to me so that I can update it in Campus View. Okay.
Sometimes I get an updated telephone number. My welcome email that I send out, I always ask them to send me a good telephone number, and I try to match it up with what's in Campus View. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Hi, this is
Hey,
Keith.
Lydia.
Go
ahead, Keith.
I just have a quick question, and maybe I'm just naive to the system. But is there ever a thought of like making this like a database draw from the site, so it's an automated report versus a manual report?
I would love that. That would be amazing. But right now, we just don't have the technology to do that. Moodle's not going to do that. And a lot of times, this isn't something that you're going to be able to draw from a database. This is what the student is doing, what work the student is doing. and you're going to be reporting to me, even if you have SAP students who are doing well, I still need to see those students. And I don't know that it would be able to pick that up.
Yeah, I think, well, all right, maybe we can talk offline. I think actually it'll pull it from a web service because it'll go into websites, like the comments people would need to update, but a lot of the other stuff I think could be done with a web service. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Hey, Lydia.
Sure.
What if we just don't put our zeros in so it doesn't look like the student's failing? Can then we just leave them off the list?
Well, Sherry, we actually had that scenario. We've had it several times.
Today, as a matter of fact.
That's a whole nother issue. As far as Moodle goes, when you are grading your students' work for the week, please, if they didn't submit something, put zeros in. If not, it skews the student's gradebook to not count whatever that assignment is, so it doesn't count those points against them. So it may look like they've gotten A's and B's when they've missed 3 assignments and you didn't put in zeros. They're really getting an F. So that's a whole nother issue, but yes, please make sure to do that.
Woo, thank you.
Yeah, and it's great when you're entering those zeros, you guys, with the new late policy, and Carson, I know you're controlling the screen, the new late policy, you can easily encourage that student now to get that work done, and it's not day by day anymore. So they have motivation now, and I can't thank all of you enough for all the emails you sent me when I made that change. So this is benefiting our students and keeping them motivated. So do not forget, that is the time to say, look, okay, great. Yeah, sorry, I know you're late, but you are not out of the game yet.
Yeah, this new late policy is huge for students, especially students even now that are failing the class. They have the potential to pull out a passing grade if they go back and do their missing work. They can still do it. So please make sure that you are encouraging students, because I think that some of them still don't know about that new late policy. Any other questions about the students of concern sheet? All right. Before I give it back to Veronica, I just wanted to thank you guys. Though I know that I'm being tedious and nitpicky about that sheet, but Deidre and I use it as our guidebook on what students to contact and how we contact them. So it is so powerful for us, and that's why we want it in a specific format. So thanks for doing your best to always get that to us.
Thanks, Lydia. And you guys, you need to know that that is a living thing. We look at every week. It is worked every week, and that is how we are improving our retention. You have a team of people here that are helping you, so we depend on that. So do not let it up, because when we do it right and it's moving in the right direction, the results are showing, and it's amazing. So I want to thank all of you as well for doing it and understanding the importance of it. It's not an exercise just to show administrative tasks. It is a valuable thing that you are doing to give you the support and the student support. Thanks, Lydia. Derek, were you able to join? I know we have a guest that I invited. The registrar, I don't believe, has ever made it to my 444 meeting, and he wanted to talk to you as well. He said he would be a little late. Not sure. He said about 15 minutes, and we are right at 15. I didn't
Veronica,
see
why don't
him
we,
yet.
while we're checking for Dirk, Tanya, do you want to run through who you might be missing for roll, and let's just double check?
Sure. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can. And Dirk just texted. He's joining now. So your time, everyone's timing's perfect. Tanya, take over for roll call.
Cassandra McDade, Dan Jones, Kara Wagner, Marissa May, Monica Lee, Rick McElroy, Sandy McDonald,
I'm here.
Tracy Lee,
I'm here.
and Victoria Loudon.
Here.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Excellent. And hopefully we gave Dirk enough time because he is up next.
Sure, if I can get my thing to mute.
Everybody, you get to hear the voice of the registrar. Welcome him to our faculty meeting.
Woo!
Hey, Dirk.
Hi, Dirk.
Welcome. I'm glad I was able to be here with everyone and talk to you guys about something that's very near and dear to my heart and makes it my job a heck of a lot easier if it's done right. And that's attendance. Attendance for our schools is very important. It's a compliance issue that goes with not only our accrediting body, but DOE regulations and everything. If we get it wrong, we have lots of things that can go bad as far as regulations go. It could even lead to a late refund for a student who are dropping. So it needs to be done right. The instructions are in the IRC. Carson and I went over them today and we made a couple revisions. But other than that, everything's fine on them. The biggest thing is you have to post in both Moodle and in Campus View. You can't do one or the other. If you're on a ground campus for Vista College, you'd be handed a piece of paper and expected to mark that, turn that in every single day to the registrar, as well as do it in the faculty portal. So the Moodle attendance is that paper copy. It's our backup. So it has to be done. It's either full or partial. I think we all know that if they do two gradable things, it's considered full attendance in a week. One is a partial. I know they're required to do more than two to get full, a full grade, but at least two. And two could be from a week prior and that week. That would be two. So you've got to be careful with that. Attendance being posted in Campus View is important. I get a lot of people that ask me, how many minutes is my class should be posting for full attendance? Sherry pointed something out to me that's very nice. When you're in the portal, it actually tells you how much minutes that class is. It's right at the top of the page. It will give you how many minutes you need to post for that class. That's the full attendance amount. If you have a student with partial attendance, just cut that in half and put it in. That's the easiest way. Also, we've added a spreadsheet to this that lists all of that, lists both the classes for both the 6.5 credit versions of our programs as well as the 4.5 credit versions. Because some of the classes are a little different, but you can look at it that way as well. If Lydia, myself, Christy, Deidre, Veronica reach out to you and say, hey, we need a schedule change, just do it. Don't argue with us. Because
You mean if you want the attendance change, we shouldn't argue with you?
Yep, exactly. Because
That's crazy, Dirk.
I could tell you the reason why is because before we send that thing out, I've talked with Lydia. Lydia's talked with me. Deidre or I have talked. More than one of us has looked at this to make sure that we are making you do something that needs to be done. We're not going to ask you to do something that doesn't need to be done.
Hey, Dirk, what if I think their participation just sucked and I don't want to give them credit for it? Like, what if they wrote half a word in the discussion board?
If they wrote half a word, that is gradable to an F, so therefore it counts as attendance.
Oh, good to know.
So, any questions, guys?
Hi, Dirk. This is Mark. I wanted to ask you, hey, how are you? With the trend of errors that we've had in posting, certainly I like to post after 11:55 that night because I'm always up doing other things. And that's when I run into my errors to where I can't post. How can we prepare the next day for you? Should we continue to just send an email that morning? Do you prefer that we just go ahead and send you what's in Moodle that night? What type of policy or instructions you'd like for us to do when we first see that there is going to be a problem not posting to Campus View?
That's a good question. Number one, the only time you should post before 11:55 Central Time at night is when your entire class has full attendance, or if you know that someone is not going to get full attendance because they're blocked and they can't get in, type situation. But if you run into a situation where Campus View won't allow you to post, because sometimes that on Sunday nights they have it refreshed or they take the portal down or something, just shoot me an email. I will post for you the next morning when I come in. I don't mind doing that, but to do that, I have to have the attendance in Moodle because I will not post it if the attendance is not in Moodle.
Good deal. Thank you.
Dirk, I had just a real quick question. On week 5, the class I teach is 540 hours for full attendance. But on week 5, we're only going through Thursday, and it always still says 540. Is that correct?
Yeah, with the new 4.5 classes, rather than weighing the attendance anyway or not, I thought I'd make it simple for you guys. So with the new 4.5 credits, it's the same every single week, just because it's uniform. It's easier for you to remember, and I didn't feel like it was worth the, trying to figure out, okay, how to weigh it exactly. So just became much simpler to do it in 5 equal amounts. And it just made sense to me. That's why I did it.
Okay, so it is the right number of hours. It's just divided nicely. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Just a couple tips that I've seen, and I know I've sent emails about this, but you got to make sure that 2 discussion board posts always count as full attendance. A knowledge check, if you have a class, the knowledge check, even if it's like 1 question, 2 questions, that counts as attendance. And if you have any questions, please feel free to always ask. Either if you can't reach me for some reason, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you can't for some reason, Lydia, Dirk, anybody can answer the question.
Yeah, and this is Ann. I got caught with one of those ones where they wrote 3.5 words in discussion board, and I was just resistant to calling.
Oh, it happens. And believe me, give them the grade they've earned.
Yep, give them the grade they earned and do it. The other thing is, too, guys, if you need to get hold of me on a Sunday, text me. My cell phone is on the list that Sarah sends out. So text me if you need to get hold of me on a Sunday, because I don't look at my emails on Sundays. So the best thing to do is to text me if you have a question for me on a Sunday.
Thanks, Dirk. Anyone else have questions for Dirk?
Thank you for all of your hard work, Dirk. I know sometimes it gets hard when we have those problems and you have to do all that posting. So thank you and your team, everyone that is involved in making those manual postings for us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Dirk.
It's just nice to get the emails that say, hey, yeah, can you post, because we had problems. So, and I know a lot of times I'll have an idea ahead of time that I'm going to have a heavy posting day. but most of the time I just kind of get surprised. So like this last one really surprised me. So on that heavy day.
I have a question.
Sure.
I hear on more than one occasion here, people talking about posting in Campus View. It's not actually Campus View, is it? It's the portal that we post.
Correct. Yeah, it's the portal. And the portal moves it to Campus View. If I manually post it, I am manually posting in Campus View in and of itself. So, and every now and then, guys, you'll end up on the unposted attendance list, and you'll say, I know I posted it. Well, every now and then, the portal, the faculty portal and Campus View has a problem communicating with each other, and Campus View will kick it out. I apologize for that. I have no idea when that happens. It just randomly happens. It may happen to one instructor in a given week, and everyone else has went through just fine. But for some reason, it will do that every now and then. So I apologize in advance if you end up on a list and you don't feel you should. I just have no way of knowing that's what happened.
Thanks for that explanation, Derek, and the question from the faculty. You guys, attendance is important. I cannot stress that enough. If it is accurate in Moodle, behind the scenes, there are many, many, many people, as Dirk listed, that take care of it, double, triple, we triple check actually, before you are informed. And I know it's tedious for you when you have to do the grade change or the attendance change form, but it's even more upsetting to me when I have to sign every one. I'm like, what the heck just happened? Give me a reason why I'm signing 20 forms for approving an attendance glitch. So Dirk and Lydia, they get the phone call saying, tell me what happened here and why I have 20. It is extremely important because it affects everything, and we do have a deadline. So I dread a Monday when I get that phone call, text. Dirk will text me saying, Veronica, you have 20 to sign. Really? Because Dirk cannot change it without my signature. But the research gets done. Your accuracy is important. Now, on the good side, we are moving forward to where we make it easier, because I do realize it is time consuming. We're not there yet, but in the meantime, starting on Monday with 20 forms to sign is not a nice day. Dirk, I'm so glad you finally came to my 444 meeting and got to talk to the team. You guys, anything else for Dirk? Because he's got work to do to get students enrolled for you.
Yeah, in the last 2 days, Christy has enrolled 40 students.
Woohoo, good news.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think we're going to end up with another 10 here in a short while. So we should have a big start.
Excellent. Faculty, anything else for our wonderful registrar before I let him get back to other work?
Okay, just real quick, thank you so much, Dirk. And you guys, the sooner you get in attendance and don't end up on that naughty list that he sends out, the better off you are, because you do not want to end up on that list that didn't turn in attendance, because it makes his job so much harder, and he really works hard. So if we could do that for him, it'd be great.
Yeah, I'm ornery in the mornings when I get a lot of attendance there. So, and Sherry and Veronica hear the brunt of it, I think. So.
So let's not make him upset.
And then it filters to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dirk, thank you so much for joining the call. You are welcome anytime. But I appreciate you reminding everybody of the importance that no different student of concern and the other things. It does have an impact on many people. Dirk, you're welcome to stay, as you know, and listen in, but I'm going to move on.
Okay,
my next
I am actually going to head out because I've got to call Denise. So thank you very much, and I'll stop in again on another one of the 444 sometime in the future.
Excellent. Have a great night and get us those students.
Okay, thanks.
With that said, my next agenda item, it is now 2017. I started an AR award 1 year ago this term. AR for the new instructors is the Adjunct Recognition Award. We are now starting our second year of it, and I have to say, it's getting harder for me to make a selection. It really is, because all of you have stepped up, and I have to look at things and I'm like, oh my goodness, how do I just pick one? But nonetheless, I can only pick one, and I am happy to announce this term's AR winner is Tracy Lee. And the reason is you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a tough decision. Tracy has been here now eight terms. She has taught 90 of our students and only lost 2 of them. More importantly, which set her apart in my mind, in those 8 terms, when I announced using new technology and setting up WebExes and meetings with her students, she was the first one that jumped on board because I was notified at that point. I'm like, wow. Susan, thoughts, my Susan one-on-ones with her name came up, and that's what gets my attention on top of it. Susan, your thoughts and comments.
Well, geez, you said everything I was going to say. I am really fortunate. My whole team is amazing. Tracy has just been awesome in terms of really leading the way using the WebEx. Our particular program requires so much detailed learning, and it's much easier for our students to understand when you can take the time to show them, and she's just been awesome in doing that. And it's really shown our students are doing better in her class, they're understanding things, and a lot of my instructors also do the same thing. So I just really appreciate all of her hard work. She's always the first to get things done, and just couldn't be happier with her. Thank you, and you deserve it, Tracy.
Tracy, would you like to say something?
I just want to say thank you, everybody, and Susan is a great trainer, so I appreciate everything, and the tools that you guys provide really do help, make the job a little easier. So thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now we get to the Kimberly and Carson show, and then a wonderful in-service from another AR award winner. But Kimberly and Carson, they always have great news they want to share and information. Kimberly, you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you, Veronica. Most of you, all of you received the email. Your classes are ready. You should be previewing them now using your course preview checklist. I attached that to the email. I just want to remind you that when you send your instructor welcome, that is not the same as submitting your course preview checklist. If you preview your course and you find everything is okay, just shoot me an email with your instructor welcome saying everything was okay, I previewed the course. Or if you find issues, include that form or include in the email the issues that you find that I need to correct. Are there any questions? Okay, great. Carson has some great things for you.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. All right, a few things, and I'll be brief because I know, Ann wants a lot of time for in service, and that's what we're really here for. But a few things. First of all, it has been made official that we will be transitioning to the Canvas LMS. And can I get an amen? Can I get an amen from anybody? Even one person?
Amen.
You
didn't hear me. I was trying to say.
All right, perfect. So that was great news, and fairly recent news as well. We've been working toward it, but it's becoming official. So there will probably be a couple of terms out before we actually roll it out across the board after implementation and all of that good stuff. But there's that first piece of awesome news. We're really looking forward to that. Let's see. Another quick thing is I wanted to show you guys a couple of things. Let me share my screen. Okay, first of all, just a couple of quick additions in the IRC here. Shared documents right here. Now these numbers sometimes will shuffle slightly when we add new things, but shared documents is where we've been discussing all the documents today so far. Here's some additions I wanted to let you know are available. Instructors' tasks. This document came out of a meeting first part of December in Dallas that a bunch of us went to, including the program directors, Lydia, Veronica, Kimberly, and I. So if you're ever wondering, what should I do this week? What needs to get done? This is a nice detailed list that really can help keep you will give you some order if you don't already have order in your adjunct life. So keep that in mind. One that Sarah wanted me to add is this professional development expectations document. This is a fairly new ad. So take a look at that if you have any questions about your professional development expectations. We've updated the adjunct pay calendar to 2017 right here. And this was a request from an instructor here, which is, well, what about an academic calendar? What days do we have off? And that type of thing. So that's available right here. Again, the course preview checklist that Kimberly mentioned is here. And then the students of concern sheet that Lydia mentioned is right here, along with attendance corrections, grade change forms, and all that kind of stuff. So just some additions for the Instructor Resource Center that I quickly wanted to mention.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. Any questions on the additions to the IRC? All right. I'll take that as a no, but if you do have some, chat or email them to me because I'm going to quickly go to the next item here. And that is, let's see here. Unenrolling yourselves from courses you've been enrolled to forever. So if you notice, when you go to a course, and I am quickly going to hop in and log in as one of you. I apologize, I should have done this a little bit earlier. But let me quickly run into somebody's course and let me show you something. Let's see here. I'm going to use Dan Ferentz. Oh, I was on Ann. I could have used Dan, but I'll go ahead and use Dan Ferentz as an example. Really quick. Basically, what you'll be able to do in your courses, guys, is on the top right corner of your course, if you notice, you have a huge list of courses that are terms and terms old. You should have an option here. Well, let me actually just take it back one step so this makes perfect sense to you. So when you log in as yourself, right now I'm looking at Dan, you have all your hidden courses, right? Some of these are going to be for the next term, but some are very, very old. So if you need to unenroll yourself from a course, and I'll explain which ones you should and shouldn't unenroll yourselves in, you're going to click on the course that you want to unenroll from. You should now, based on the new Moodle 3.1 update, you should have this admin button right up here on the upper right next to your picture, and you can unenroll yourself from that course. Now here's a caveat, guys, and this is really important. Don't unenroll yourselves from your new courses or your upcoming course. Not only that, but you want to keep one course in the chamber. So for example, right now, you want to keep your active course and then the course from the last term in the chamber. And of course, don't delete new stuff that Kimberly just placed you in. So you gotta be mindful and know what term is what. So I wanted to mention that to you. Someone raised their hand. Is there a question?
Yeah, this is Chris Wright. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I'm noticing that when I'm looking at my classes, it'll say progress 1 out of 3, even though that week is already complete, or progress 5 out of 14, even though that course is already complete. Can you help me understand what I'm doing wrong there?
Yeah, no problem, Chris. You're not doing anything wrong. What that is telling you is if you were the student, that's what you'd be looking at. So this doesn't keep track, these progress tasks. They don't keep track of you've graded all 5 assignments and replied to all discussion questions. Those bars, those progress bars and check marks are more for the student. So if you were to go through as the student and submit your own assignments and reply to discussion questions, that's when those things check off. So that's more of a student tool rather than an instructor tool.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions on unenrolling yourself from a course?
Yeah, Carson, I would assume if we do screw up, you can put it back.
Yeah. Yes, we've had a discussion about that, Dan. That's true. We can put you back into a course. It's not like it deletes the course. The course is still archived. It just removes you from the course. And we can still go back and look at that course. Your welcome is still in there, so it's still attached to you somehow. You just aren't going to see it in your big jumble of hidden courses anymore. So just a way to thin it out to give you a little more order.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions about that?
Yeah, this is Jerry. I had a question. I know a while back you were going to keep our amount of hidden courses down and unenroll us. Does this mean we now need to start doing that? You're not going to do that, which is fine, but I just need to know.
Yes, that is correct. This is very new as of just a couple weeks ago, that this is now available for you to do on your own rather than us going through 50 or so instructors and doing that for them. So yeah, selfishly, it's off of our plate, but in a good way, you have control over that. So yes, it is up to the instructor now to unenroll themselves. But if you need help, let me or Kimberly know. We're glad to help.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Anything else?
Carson, this is Mark. How are you?
Hey, Mark.
I have a question. So I've noticed when I go ahead and do postings for the discussion for the next week, I automatically generate a email that says posting for week 5 is complete. What is that email that's generated? Why do I receive that?
That would be an email that the system generates. But if you could forward me a copy of that so I can take a look at it, I could definitely confirm whether that is the case or not the case. So just forward me a copy of it. Let me take a look at it.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, guys. Last quick thing here is Alice. Ask Alice. Down here on the bottom of every LMS page under support, there's a link called Ask Alice. She's brand new and looks beautiful. Basically, this is kind of awesome. When a student types in a question based on keywords, the system will type back to them, kind of giving it a human touch. It will answer their question. We're still working on it. There's still some things to perfect, but she's looking really good. One thing I will mention though, guys, is this is an FAQ type tool. It's not a complaint log. So if a student should be asking questions like, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I contact financial aid? What is the address to the school? It's that kind of thing. It's not, I'm having an issue with a classmate or an instructor or the content. That's really going to fall on deaf ears. This is more of an FAQ section, okay? So if they have issues, like I mentioned before, they need to be contacting us for that kind of stuff. Technical support, academics, student advisors, that type of thing. So I just wanted to preview this. You still have a little way to go, but she is fully functional, and you can kind of mess around. And if you find that she doesn't know the questions to some of the answers you're asking, please forward those to me, and we can add them and make her database stronger than it is currently.
Hey, Carson, is she going to transfer over to Moodle? I mean, to Canvas?
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right, guys. So that's that. All right, I will go ahead and if you have any questions, I don't mean to not answer any questions right now, but Ann needs the rest of the time for her presentation. So I'm going to cut myself off. If you have any questions, please email them to Kimberly and myself, and we will answer those to the best of our ability. So Veronica, I am done.
Thank you, Carson and Kimberly. And I will take 10 seconds to allow the team to thank you guys. As you see, this entire team behind the scenes is doing a lot. You got 3 seconds to thank them.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Carson and Kimberly.
Thank you.
You guys make our course
Okay.
look perfect.
3 seconds are up, and I am really excited starting the new year with Ann's presentation. Ann is one of our AR Award winners and volunteered. Thank you, Ann. Ann has a great presentation. I'm turning it over to you. Let's go.
Okay. Well, as I'm going to start with the caveat that I feel like I'm probably speaking to the choir here, but I was asked because I have a perhaps unique way of approaching my communication with students, mostly because of medicine. You don't actually ever go in and yell at patients, and we shouldn't yell at our students either. But sometimes we can yell at them without them realizing we're yelling at them if we take the positive approach. So that's basically, it's very short, it's only 7 slides, so don't panic. Carson's flipping my switch there, so we'll go on the next slide, Carson. Thank you. Actually, it's a prayer by St. Francis. It was credited to him, and he lived in 1100 to 1200. It's a little poem about understanding that it's not what's happening to me, it's what is happening to other people that I need to be concerned with. And it's something that I've used since I was a child, and probably what took me into medicine, and that's to bring hope where there's despair, to bring light where there's darkness, joy where there's sadness, pardon when there's injury, and to console rather than be consoled, and to understand rather than to be understood. And I was singing, it happens to be a song too, and I was singing this to myself the other day when I was asked to do this lecture, and it really came to mind that that's what we're doing with our students. We are getting a set of students that are usually pretty broken. They have struggled through their life for one reason or another. They don't feel like they have a lot of self-confidence. They don't see the end of the journey ahead of them as a positive necessarily. So I think I like to bring a lot of this sense of needing to listen to them carefully, to understand that they're going through stuff, and that they do need to find some light, some joy, some hope, and to be consoled from time to time. Feel free to break in anytime. Next slide, Carson. Thank you. There we go. So my approach to speaking with the student, and of course we're doing this online, in the discussion boards, in our notes to them on a regular basis. And I do annoy the crap out of them the first part of the term, trying to make them see what they can do. And it's the positive approach. We can say everything with rare exception in a positive manner rather than using the negative. And so this slide shows you 2 ways to do that. That we're talking about choices and being accountable for your choices, and that you're doing the best you can, and the next step is, and that they can finish what they're doing. They don't have to be in the back of the line all the time. And if we say it to them in such a way that they feel like we are giving them respect and honoring their choice to be back in school, and they are step by step making things happen, they will respond to that. Versus if we say in our note to them, everybody was late this week, you should never be late, you should never get your stuff done in such a sloppy manner, and can't you keep a schedule, and didn't we already talk about this? There's a whole lot of negativity to those sort of words, and even though you're hearing my negative tone right now, we can throw that tone right at them, even in writing. So we need to avoid the negative tone, the negative words like never and don't and can't you and shouldn't you and wouldn't you. It might be true, but they're not going to respond to negative. They already live a life that's way too negative. We need to model the positive, the good choices, the right way. Any questions so far?
And I don't have a question, but I have a comment because
Yes.
it goes back to what we talked about earlier on attendance. A student can post and say, I hate this class. I don't know why I'm taking it. They get attendance, but a thank you saying, I'm glad you're even still here attending this course. How can I help you? I think that bleeds into your presentation, does it not?
Oh yes, definitely. And I have had a student that has started out really strong and it has kind of faded away. And I keep sending I miss you messages and I wish you would come back and tell me what's holding you up, so that they know that I care and that we all care and that perhaps we can actually help them over whatever hurdle they're reaching, versus I haven't seen you for 3 weeks and why am I wasting my time? That's two different approaches. One is very positive and the other one is very negative. So how we couch our language does make a difference. Next slide, if you wouldn't mind, Carson. Okay. We have to ask the questions and engage often. And the words that are here are the words I give to my students, but they're words for us too, that we need to read their comments in the discussion board carefully. We need to start early on in helping them know how to do things, how to model good behavior. Because if we're late getting back to them, if we're not doing all our assigned work, if we're not being on time, then why should they be? It's just like parents and kids. We have to model to these students how to do this right and how to make it a positive choice and a positive step forward. And even if they fall, they make the mistake, they don't get something done, okay, you didn't get this done, but you can make this up and you can get some points for it. Somebody missed the Wednesday night posting it last night because their computer broke. And they sent me an email like at 12 midnight, and I happened to be up, and I said, it's okay, you know, the world won't end, just post when you can tomorrow. And she says, well, I know I'm going to get a 0. I said, I wrote her back, I said, no, you're not getting a 0. I said, we want you to post by Wednesday, but as long as you post by Sunday, you're not getting a 0. And that positive reinforcement, you know, I could have said, yeah, you were supposed to do it by Wednesday, and I'm going to dock you points. Well, I might dock her 1 or 2, but I'm not going to tell her that first. I'm going to be positive and say, no, the world has not ended, and you did well because you emailed me, and I am looking forward to your message tomorrow. Is much more positive and reassuring and whatnot for that student than being angry at her and saying, you know, why should I care? Next slide. Thanks, Carson. Silence is a negative when it comes to us being adjunct teachers. And I've taken lots of online courses myself, and I've had teachers that have not responded for literally weeks at a time to a question that I had. And we know that that's bad. The student, and we know how frustrated we get when I'm trying to find Rita and Rita's not responding to phone calls or emails or texts and nobody can find her. And we don't like that silence, and neither do the students. We have to engage. So one of the things that I do very regularly that I don't necessarily see everybody else doing is I am using that note of the day. I call it my Happy Wednesday. I tell them how cold it is today. Great job getting started. I send something out almost every day, particularly the first 2 weeks, just to say, hey, I've seen people on the board. But I also use that opportunity to say, hey, 8 out of 12 of us have made it to the board and we're really enjoying the conversation, and we're looking forward to the 4 of you that haven't made it to the board yet to talk to us and give us your wisdom on this topic. And it sounds a little trite and maybe a little contrived, but they do respond to that positive reinforcement that we missed them and that we are looking forward to their information and their wisdom. And that gives them a sense of self-worth that says, I am a missed person. I am part of this 12-person team for 5 weeks, and they are actually counting on me to say something. And that gives them a sense of inclusion and positive reinforcement that says that they can move forward in this course, which can be very difficult for many of our students. Anything so far? Okay, next slide. And there's only one more after this. We are all connected, and that's what's unique about the online environment, is I have students in Texas and California and Pennsylvania and Utah, yet we are connected just as we are as adjuncts to each other. And making that connection real to the students by reinforcing what positives they have done by using their name, saying, you know, I just read a post from Maria, and she was saying much the same thing as you are. And it's amazing how interconnected we all are. Making that connection to them, again, adds them to a community that is positive, that is making good choices, that are having the same struggles as perhaps they are, yet still moving forward in their education. So it gives them that connectivity that is so required for learning. And it allows us as the adjuncts to keep telling them how connected they are. And last slide. I am ridiculously persistent, and Sherry and Susan will tell you that. I just am on the phone, trying to get them on the phone, trying to get them in the email situation, texting them. And I do that the first half of the term. And after that, if they haven't figured out that I need to see them and have them in class and for them to do well, I start not picking on them as much. Now, the reason for that is twofold. Number one, some of these folks are up against some real issues. Some of them are in negative relationships and they're getting beat up while I'm trying to tell them to get into class, literally. Some of them have been in the hospital. Some of them are delivering babies. Some of them have had a sick child. And if they can't be in class and I keep fussing at them for the entire 5 weeks, they may not come back to school because I'm too mean. So I try to find a happy balance of saying, okay, I know life is really tough for you right now, but I want you to come back when you're ready, so that they do come back to get their education when they're ready. If we're too hard on them nonstop, you know how you feel. You're just like, okay, whatever, I'm out of here. And I don't want the students to ever feel that way. And two, is I can't fix everybody. No matter how hard, how kind, how compassionate, yet firm I am, I cannot force them to learn something. I can't force them to be there on time at 11:55. I can't force them to learn. And so I have to take that for what it is. But to do my best until that point when there is nothing else to be done. And that's all I have. Questions? Wisdom that you wish to share?
I'll go ahead, jump in. I actually think that's a very excellent presentation, and I think that we can all take a lot away from that. One thing I would add in your last slide is, things do change during the term. And sometimes when a student seems to be at the beginning reacting very positively, things can happen. And if things happen, then I think it might be a good idea to go back and, quote, pester them again. But again, that's trying to understand each of your students and understand what has changed in their mindset. And that mindset might be changed by some circumstances in their life, or actually probably is changed by circumstances. So, but overall, I thought that was an excellent message.
Right. You're absolutely correct. And we do have students, and I've had several in online arenas where you never see the student. All you have are your emails, where they really are in very difficult situations. They are being battered, or they've been assaulted, or they've been kicked out of the apartment, or something really negative and dangerous. And my first email is, "Are you safe?" So, that actual real concern of, are you safe? Are you better? Are your kids better? To let them know that you actually do care what they're going through. And if they need to well connect them in their city, to make sure that they know where they can get safety, whether that's the police or a halfway house or something. Well connect can put them into a safer situation. And we can make those kind of impacts if we're paying attention to listening and understanding what our students need.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to add to that. I really enjoyed the presentation. It actually hits home with me. And this is Mark, by the way. And my students, I really like to get personal with them. I like to develop a personal rapport with them. I'm sure that in how we got to where we are took a lot of time, and sometimes it wasn't always good. For me, in getting my degrees, I lost both my mother and my father, all in that same time. So I like to share that story whenever there is a student that is struggling, that we have these things that happen in our lives. And though it hurts or it may be challenging, we want to push through it. We want to look for better days. It may not be that I need to finish school. It may not be that all these other things, but to identify with them that you are human, and to identify with them that these are things that we go through, it makes it more personable. Because again, we are online adjunct professors, and sometimes it seems that we're all automated when we're in the discussions and grading homework. So personally identifying with them, such as what you have delivered in your presentation, hits home with me, and I really appreciate that. And I think we all could really say that we appreciate the presentation. But that's something that I like to do with my students, and it has gotten me a long way with them. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. I kind of slipped by that certainly we're going to make we're going to catch more bees with honey than with vinegar, is a used phrase for a lot of things. But these students are having they have chosen very, very hard. They have to find the money, they have to find the time, they have to get through all kinds of family issues that some of us never experienced and others have. But like you, I share a lot of my, yep, I had that kind of job and I got robbed and I had to make a choice on how I was going to make my life better, and it turned me to this pathway and then it took me to that pathway, and show them, because none of us started out where we are right now. None of us. I slung hamburgers when I was 18, and most of these kids are still slinging hamburgers. So we just have to keep showing them positively how we can step by step, choice by choice, even if that just means getting out of bed and turning on the computer for 15 minutes every day till they get it done. And in that way they can see that there's hope and there's light at the end of their tunnel. Other things? I guess that's it, Veronica.
Yes, we are over our 1 hour, and I wish you had more time, because I know there are like 80 other stories from this faculty of what they do every day and what they hear. And I realize we talk about this often, and there's different angles to it. And I love starting the year with this positivity and making sure, I don't want to gloss over your main point, the positivity of supporting our students. And you guys are the front line. And I just want to say great job to everybody. I look forward to our next 444. You have a great support team, as most of the time was spent sharing that. Everyone, I will see you online. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Good job, Anna. Bye.
Bye.